Good afternoon, friends and colleagues. I'm Senator Maria Elena Durazo, Chair of the California Latino Legislative Caucus, and I want to thank everyone for joining our virtual press conference today as we unveil our 2021 legislative priorities. As Chair of the Latino Caucus, it's my pleasure to present our priorities for 2021. We are the largest ethnic caucus in the legislature, with 29 members representing every part of California's over 15 million Latinos. We're also majority Latina women. In the link you have all received, you will find several documents, including our list of 17 Latino Caucus priorities, a list of our guiding principles, our 2021 policy priorities, and a full Latino Caucus roster. All of this information will also be posted on our caucus website after the press conference. We all agree that the pandemic has hit our state hard and especially hurt Latino, Black, and API communities. Yet without their hard work as essential workers, our entire state would have faced an even more severe crisis. They picked the food, they drove the food and other critical supplies to our grocery stores and warehouses. They took the risks in our clinics and hospitals, and they continued to build our infrastructure. The pandemic made crystal clear that too many men, women, children, and seniors lack the basic necessities like healthcare, food, housing, and a good paying job with safe working conditions. These bills are the Latino Caucus response to help bring additional support to our communities and rebuild a brighter future for all Californians. Today, we propose forward-looking, long-lasting, sustainable solutions to address the core of these inequalities for years to come. I am confident our caucus leadership members will work hard with the governor to ensure California comes back strong from this pandemic with legislation rooted in justice and equity. With that, I want to introduce our caucus vice chair representing the area of Hollister and the 30th Assembly District, Assemblymember Robert Rivas.
And thank you, Madam Chair. It's great to see everybody and really appreciate everyone making the time to join us. As a caucus, we are very proud to unveil and briefly highlight our 2021 legislative priorities. Now, these bills, they are critical. They are critical in uplifting and supporting not only Latinos here in California, but all residents of our state alike. And as we all know, this past year, a global pandemic has just exacerbated many of the health, economic, housing, and other challenges that have faced our most underrepresented, underserved, and vulnerable areas of the state for years. And unfortunately, this pandemic has also revealed many systemic inequities in our state's emergency response, our public health, and economic systems. As a state, as we begin to recover, I am confident that these bills that we will highlight in just a moment, that they are going to go a long way to ensure that we provide for a pandemic response that includes all people, all regions, all areas of the state of California. From healthcare access to workplace safety, to our environment, to education, to immigrants' rights. There's no question that this year's caucus priorities will create a more equitable California for all. We look forward to working together as a caucus to advocate for these priorities, these bills, as they make their way through the legislature and eventually to the governor's desk. And so with that, really appreciate everyone making the time to be here with us.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Zanetti. I'm Communications Director for the caucus and for Senator Durazo. Thank you for all the press joining us today and for anyone else who's part of this presentation. A couple of housekeeping things. We request that all press can list their name and outlet in their Zoom contact, and that only members have their cameras turned on. And at the end of the presentation, there will be a Q&A for the media. As you can see on the list of priorities, the bills have been broken down into 6 sections, which is how they'll be presented today. And we're going to start off with the topic of healthcare access. and I will pass it over to Assemblymember Arambula to talk about his bill, AB 4.
Thank you very much. And I first want to thank Madam Chair and Mr. Vice Chair for all of their hard work in putting the Latino Caucus priority legislation and holding this press conference. COVID-19 has hit our undocumented immigrants especially hard, including the millions of frontline and essential workers who have taken and borne the disproportionate risk of this pandemic. And this pandemic has further exacerbated both the racial and ethnic health disparities, while it's made clear that access to comprehensive health care is both necessary and essential for every resident of our state. No one in our state should have to wait until an emergency to be able to access health care. The expansion of Medi-Cal, regardless of immigration status, to all income-eligible children in 2016 and to young adults in 2020 ensured comprehensive care for hundreds of thousands of young people in a healthier California overall. Healthcare is a human right, and our health system is stronger when everyone is included. Now is the time to make sure that our state puts into law its commitment to provide health for all. Then we will have a goal in statute that we must work to fund. Thank you again, and I look forward to partnering with you all to continue this fight.
Thanks so much, Assemblymember. We're going to pass it back to Senator Durazo to talk about SB 56.
Thank you. SB 56 is a bill that will ensure low-income seniors who qualify for Medi-Cal have access to preventative care regardless of their immigration status. Pre-COVID-19, we have a system that is unfair and cruel, where as many as 35,000 California residents older than 65 do not have access to a regular doctor. These individuals can't get preventative screenings for cancer, heart condition, or diabetes, and they're forced to rely on emergency rooms when things get so bad that they face a medical emergency. The pandemic exacerbated the inequities of our public health care system, and it made clear that seniors and Latinos have been the most at risk and vulnerable. A recent report from the UCLA Labor Center for the Study of Latino Health showed that 80 plus year old Latinos death rate was over twice white Californians. And the Latino death rate is over 4 times white Californians if you're 65 to 79. Undocumented seniors should not wait any longer. And this is the right time to do this. It's a smart thing to do. California will be stronger when we protect older Californians, and Californians agree this is what we should do. A recent poll showed that 2/3 of adult Californians are in favor. The time is right for health for all and health for seniors. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Senator. Our next category is workers' rights and workplace safety. And Senator Durazo, I'm going to hand it back to you to talk about SB 321.
This is a bill that will eliminate the exclusion of privately paid household domestic service employees from California's Occupational Safety and Health Act, the CalOSHA, and would provide them with basic worker safety and protection. They are largely women and people of color. They are essential. They make it possible for hundreds of families, thousands of families to carry out other work like remote business meetings, legislative hearings, or help our children stay connected to learning. During the wildfires that ravaged our state, these workers, primarily immigrant women, were expected to risk their lives defending the properties and the pets of their families. In the midst of the current healthcare crisis, this exclusion means domestic workers are more likely to contract COVID-19 and spread it in their families. That's why I'm proud to present SB 321, and I'm proud to be at the side of brave, determined women speaking out about the lack of basic labor protections for most of them hardworking essential workers. Domestic workers are essential. It's time for our state to ensure they're no longer excluded. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. I'm going to pass it over now to Assemblymember Gonzalez to talk about AB 1074.
Thank you. And I'm excited that we are prioritizing AB 1074. What we know is in this pandemic, Latinas in particular have been hard hit by job losses. One of the reasons is because Latinas are overrepresented in the hospitality industry, an industry that has been virtually shut down since the pandemic started with small reopenings. All 1074 does is say that when these hotels and event centers open back up, that the jobs of those workers, those Latinas in particular, who had been working these places for sometimes decades, that their jobs get offered to them first. So laid off workers would have the opportunity to return to work in those same jobs. And that's what this does. It is intentionally designed to soften the effect of the pandemic on Latinas in our workforce.
Thank you, Assemblywoman. Now I'm going to pass it over to Assemblymember Robert Rivas to talk about AB 73.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate the caucus prioritizing this legislation. You know, it doesn't take much to remember the conditions from last year when we had these historic wildfires and really some fires from some previous years. You know, when our skies were orange, the air was filled with this choking smoke. You know, we were all advised to stay inside to avoid outdoor activity. And while many of us had the luxury to shelter indoors with air conditioning, many of us had air purifying units. Farm and agricultural workers, they remained outdoors in smoky fields, and smoky orchards to pick crops that helped feed not only our state, but the nation. Despite the fact that here in California, we have this first in the nation emergency standard requiring employers to protect farm workers from wildfire smoke, many farm and agricultural workers here in our state, they did not get the workplace protections that they needed last year. The combination of a global pandemic, these unprecedented number of wildfires we had last year, it put enormous strain on our availability to procure the necessary PPE for workers, these N95 masks. And so this legislation, Assembly Bill 73, seeks to build on Cal OSHA's first in the nation standard for protecting farm and agricultural workers from wildfire smoke. We can't stand for our farm workers, these essential workers, to risk their health and well-being every time they go out into the fields to harvest the food that we all eat. And so this bill will certainly help protect lives and ensure that a more resilient food system when wildfires inevitably will strike again here in our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Assembly Member. Our next topic for bills is environment and infrastructure. And I'm going to pass it over to Assembly Member Garcia to talk about AB 1.
Thank you, and I want to thank the caucus and my colleagues for their support. AB 1 starts high-level actions to reset the Department of Toxic Substances Control into a department that's more transparent and accountable and protects the public's health, in particular low-income communities of color who are disproportionately burdened with stationary sources that have been poisoning our communities. We have been hit hardest during this pandemic with COVID, and in part because we are more susceptible to the disease because of both the soil, water, and air contaminations in our communities out there, just exacerbating the need to do this reform. This is a continuation of work that's been going on for multiple years and looking forward to this getting done in the near future. I just want to add that this bill is personal. I live in one of these communities. DTSC has allowed Exide, a facility in my backyard, to operate with a temporary permit for 30 years. The continued pollution has poisoned my community and the surrounding communities, costing the state almost $1 billion to clean up. And it looks like the ratepayers are on the hook. But this should be personal to everyone. These communities are across the whole state, and this department is in charge of protecting us all. And so I look forward to finally having success this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblywoman. Now we're going to pass it over to Assemblymember Eduardo Garcia to talk about AB 1500.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Vice Chair for the Latino Caucus. I appreciate all of you for the consideration and designation of AB 1500 as a caucus priority. Whether it's smoke from wildfires, increasing temperatures, water rationing because of the drought, or just as simple as access to clean drinking water, flooding when it's too wet, or sea level rise. All of our districts are experiencing one or more of these impacts of climate change. Each year, this situation is becoming more urgent and our communities are falling further behind. That is why I'm proud to be a joint author of AB 1500 with my colleague from the Bay Area. It will make much needed investments in communities across California to make them better prepared to deal with climate change impacts. AB 1500 is a $6.7 billion bond that will make investments in wildfire prevention, responding to sea level rise, safe drinking water, drought preparation, responding to extreme heat, and emergency response. 25% of these dollars are designated for economically disadvantaged communities that have been disproportionately hit, along with another 15% that will allow for the technical assistance that many of our communities in the districts that we all represent are much in need of. I also want to just say that it is important to make the connection between public health and the impacts of COVID-19, all of the underlying health circumstances that our communities have had to deal with for many years, and how this has exacerbated the COVID-19 circumstance that's before us. I look forward to working with all of you to move this bill forward through the process and ensure that your district's needs are addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Assembly Member. The next presenter will be Assembly Member Aguiar Curry, presenting AB 14.
Thank you to my caucus friends and my colleagues. I am proud to announce that in partnership with Senator Lina Gonzalez and nearly 24 of our legislative colleagues, including 11 of our Latino caucus colleagues, the Latino caucus prioritized my Internet for All bill, AB 14, in our policy package. California has learned that during the pandemic, what rural constituents like mine have known for many years. The availability of internet technology provides access to healthcare, education, and job training, and small businesses access to digital economy, changing people's lives. Without it, all that is unreachable for many of our California families. The digital divide has disproportionately affected Latinos and immigrant households. It is time to finally close that gap once and for all. That is why Senator Gonzalez and I agree on speeds for build out for projects under the program, 25 download, 25 upload, which will be upgraded as the FCC modernizes their standards over time to reflect advances in technology and need. Ultimately, we have the momentum to get this effort across the finish line. Passing AB 14 will result in the Californians getting the reliable, affordable service that they all need to access education and job training, telehealth, the digital economy for our small businesses, and technology that serves our economy. I hope you will all join us in the effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Assembly Member. Our next speaker will be Senator Gonzalez talking about SB 4.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. I'm also very thrilled to know that my Senate Bill 4 is part of the Latino Caucus priority bills this year. And as Assemblymember Aguiar Curry said, we're working diligently to ensure that this passes, both of our bills pass, because they're both certainly something that will improve the lives of all Latinos and all underserved and unserved communities up and down our state. At the national level, we know that 44% of low-income households earning $30,000 a year or less don't have home broadband services. And in California, 21% of those households are Latino. SB 4 can help us empower more Latinos and underserved communities with the resources, digital skills, and tools they need to succeed in their education, life, and careers. The need for better internet access is truly a statewide issue. With healthcare, work, and education moving to online platforms, we know that the time is now to ensure that broadband for all is truly essential. And as mentioned, only 59% of rural homes with school-age children in California have broadband. In Los Angeles, it's only a quarter, and in Oakland, only a third. SB 4 and AB 14 will help secure continuous funding for high-speed broadband infrastructure and will ensure that we invest these funds equitably across our state. I also want to mention that we are ensuring that everybody is a part of this. Education, as mentioned, healthcare. We are including labor supporters as well to ensure that we move this forward this year. And I want to thank the Latino Caucus once again for making this a priority.
Thank you, Senator. Our next topic will be economic equity and tax reform. And our next speaker will be Assemblymember Santiago, presenting AB 221.
Well, thank you to the Latino Caucus members and everybody who's helped support this, particularly Mr. Rivas and Ms. Susan Rubio, who signed on early, and many others who have now supporting this. But this is just about food and getting foods in kids' bellies and getting food on the table, because it's a modest attempt, but it's a very significant attempt when we're talking about giving each adult $600 to be able to provide food. And we know during this pandemic that the hardest hit communities have been Latino communities, particularly low-income communities, and particularly those who are undocumented, where the rent has continued to pile up debt, utilities continue to pile up debt, our kids are left behind by the digital divide, and as problems continue to stack up, we have to do something basic to allow people to just eat and subsist so they don't literally die. And so what we're saying is, for these families who have been the hardest hit, for every adult to just be able to get food subsistence. And we've seen this across the state of California, where we've seen lines and lines at every food bank increase tremendously. Folks are hurting, they're hungry, and there's little kids who go to sleep at night without food in their bellies and wake up hungry. And what this bill is simply trying to do is allow for food subsistence to each individual adult in every household to the tune of $600. It's not a lot of money, but it's very basic, because if we really want to help people to live, you've got to start with the very basics, like food on the table and groceries. And it's not too far to stretch to say, we've seen this literally here in California, the 5th largest economy in the world. There are kids who go to sleep hungry at night and wake up hungry in the morning with nothing to eat. All we're trying to do is feed kids and feed families so they can subsist. So thank you very much, Latino Caucus. Y simplemente lo que quiere hacer esta propuesta de póliza es darle de comer a todos los niños y todas las niñas que se duermen con hambre en la noche y despiertan con hambre, simplemente dándoles asistencia de comida de $600 por cada individual en las casas. Es algo simple, pero algo muy significante para que sigan viviendo nuestras gentes. Cuando la renta sigue subiendo, las utilidades siguen subiendo y la deuda está grande, nosotros hemos visto que la gente se alinea hasta horas simplemente por alimentos básicos, y tratamos de darles de comer a nuestras comunidades que tienen mucha hambre. Gracias.
Thank you, Assemblymember. Our next presenter will be Senator Susan Rubio, presenting on SB 691.
Hello, everyone. Well, first of all, I'm also pleased to be here with all my colleagues, and I'm proud to share that my SB 691 also is a California Latino Caucus priority bill. This will provide much needed economic relief to Californians. The Cal IEITC is one of the most effective tools for reducing poverty across the nation. And unfortunately, not everyone receives a meaningful tax credit. More than half of low income workers who benefit from the Cal EITC are not eligible for the federal tax credit. And about half of those workers get less than $100. Many of the workers who would benefit from this are COVID-19 essential workers and earn very little. That is why we're requesting $1 billion for a one-time payment of $1,200 per adult and per child for ITIN filers who made less than $50,000 last year in 2020. But equally important, we are also requesting $21.5 million to provide for an additional $100 annually for ITIN filers who are excluded from the federal tax credit. We also know that in addition, the young child tax credit income eligibility threshold is currently set at $1, allowing for nearly all low-income workers with children to benefit. But this bill will expand the eligibility, lowering the threshold to 0 to ensure that the YCTC is inclusive to also include the in-home care workers without paid work. The California tax credit is a critical aspect in tackling California's poverty crisis and provides much needed assistance to working families and individuals who are currently struggling to afford basic necessities. We already know that COVID-19 has devastated so many of our communities, in particular, communities of color. So I, along with my colleagues, are truly committed to continue to fight for these vulnerable communities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Senator. Our next topic is education, and our first presenter will be Assemblymember Medina, presenting on AB 101.
I'm happy to see that AB 101, Ethnic Studies, has been selected as a Latino Caucus priority. Over the last several years, students, teachers, and parents have all expressed how important ethnic studies is. Just this morning, I received a letter signed by dozens of students who support AB 101 and are excited to have ethnic studies in their classrooms. As California's Latino population continues to grow, this bill will ensure that young Latinos will have the opportunity to see their histories come alive in their classroom. More importantly, all students will have the opportunity to learn about communities and experiences beyond their own. I thank my colleagues in the Latino Caucus for continuing to stand behind this important legislation and for supporting the efforts to make sure that this subject matter is also supported in the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Medina. Our next speaker will be Assemblymember Gomez-Reyes, presenting on AB 469.
Thank you so much. And I do also want to thank the California Latino Legislative Caucus for selecting AB 469, the FAFSA and California DREAM Act application completion as a priority bill. AB 469 requires local educational agencies to ensure high school seniors complete the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act application for financial aid before graduating. This bill is aligned with the governor's budget proposal and is supported by groups such as the Dolores Huerta Foundation, Mi Familia Vota, Abriendo Puertas, and our sponsor, the Education Trust West. As a first-generation college student and a Latina, I know the struggles that many students face to afford higher education. COVID-19, as many of my colleagues have talked about, has exacerbated the inequities students face when applying to college, including completing financial aid forms. In the past year, our state saw a decrease in FAFSA and California DREAM Act application submissions, leaving an estimated $550 million in state and federal aid on the table. Unfortunately, the majority of those impacted were low-income students and students of color. AB 469 ensures all students, including our first-generation, low-income, and undocumented students, get the support they need to submit critical forms for financial aid. The bill prioritizes protections for undocumented students and equips local educational agencies with the resources they need to implement the bill at the local level. We know that students who fill out the financial aid application in their senior year are 63% more likely to go to college. The evidence is clear. Financial aid applications are key to opening the door to students' post-secondary aspirations, regardless of income or immigration status. This morning, the bill was heard in the Assembly Education Committee and passed unanimously with bipartisan support. I look forward to continuing to work with the Latino Caucus to promote the advancement of all of our students in California. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember. Our next speaker will be Assemblymember Ramos, presenting on AB 1554.
Thank you. I want to thank Madam Chair Durazo and Vice Chair Rivas and my fellow caucus members for prioritizing AB 1554 as a caucus priority. Together, we will be able to go through the educational system with AB 1554 and look at the contributions that California Indian people have played in establishing the state of California, but also to touch on the horrid past of atrocities and genocide that have been inflicted upon California's first people. Certainly now in the 3rd and 4th grade, the curriculum that's already established talks about learning about the local tribes in your own backyard. And then in 8th grade, we want to make sure that when people talk about the history of the state of California, that there's no way that you could talk about the history of the state of California and not include California's first people. And then in the 11th grade, when we learn about the governmental system, we learn about the federal, the state, and the local governments. We also need to be able to insert a model of a tribal government that many times supersedes some of the local jurisdictions in the state of California. For too long, the voice of the Latino people and the Native American people has gone areas that has been silent. But by coming together as a caucus and making AB 1554 a priority bill shows that together, that voice is no longer void. That voice, when we stand together and united, is something that we can now move forward on in supporting AB 1554, the California Indian Education Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Assembly Member. Our next and final subject will be New American and Immigrant Rights. And our next presenter will be Assembly Member Luz Rivas presenting AB 1096.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored that the Latino Caucus included AB 1096 as a legislative priority this year, and that also both the chair and vice chair of the caucus have joined me as co-authors. AB 1096 deletes the outdated and dehumanizing term alien from state law and replaces it with appropriate legal terminology. While this change may seem simple, it has significant implications. Many of us in the Latino Caucus know firsthand the pain that this word can inflict in our communities. It makes us feel that we don't belong. I remember when my mom became a permanent resident and looking at her card and how it said resident alien. And it made me feel she still doesn't belong here. That's the message she is receiving. We are all aware of the power that words possess. And unfortunately, we have seen many recent incidents attest to that power. For example, in 2019, the hateful rhetoric used by the former president against our community led an unhinged racist to shoot and kill over 20 Latinos at a Walmart in Texas. And just a couple of weeks ago, we saw another racist target and kill Asian women in Atlanta as our nation continues to reel from the anti-Asian rhetoric spewed by many public figures. Time and time again, history has taught us that there is an undeniable link between this dehumanizing language and violent and racist actions. AB 1096 ensures our state law consists of terminology that aligns with California ideals of inclusion and equality. Thank you so much for including this as a priority.
Thank you, Assembly Member. Our next presenter will be Senator Caballero presenting on SB 714.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to join my colleagues today to unveil the Latino Caucus 2021 legislative priorities. And I want to thank the caucus for choosing my bill, SB 714, as one of the priority bills. SB 714 would change current law to provide aspiring citizens such as DACA and Dreamers, the opportunity to be appointed and run for delegate positions in the Democratic Party's county central committees. My bill would eliminate the systemic barrier that prevents community leaders from having a seat at the table in county central committees. California has long recognized the important contribution of immigrants to our society, but there is still work to be done to ensure that we achieve full, inclusive civic participation. Immigrants' voices, their experiences, and their talents must be recognized and integrated to ensure direct participation in the Democratic Party. Democracy requires the activism, talents, enthusiasm, and energy of all of the residents in our state, and this bill would help us to get closer to that ideal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. And our final presenter will be Assemblymember Carrillo presenting on AB 937.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wendy Carrillo and I have the honor of representing Assembly District 51, which includes the communities of Northeast LA and East Los Angeles. And I am proud to author AB 937, the Avoiding Inequality and Seeking Inclusion of Our Immigrant Neighbors Act, also known as the VISION Act. And I'm grateful to my colleagues as it has been selected as a Latino Caucus priority for 2021. When California's jails and prisons transfer individuals to Immigration and Customs Enforcement after they have served their sentences, after they are scheduled for release, and after they, their families, and communities plan and expect their re-entry, our state is subjecting them to a second punishment only because of where they were born. In keeping with our values, our state has moved toward de-incarceration, resentencing, and diversion programs. The VISION Act is an extension of these efforts. We need a California for all, not just a California for some. All Californians who make efforts at rehabilitation deserve a chance to succeed after their incarceration. I look forward to working with my colleagues to ensure California continues to lead in keeping families together and guaranteeing protections for all of those who call our Golden State home, regardless of where they were born. Buenas tardes a todos. Yo soy Wendy Carrillo, orgullosamente representando el Distrito 51, que incluye las comunidades del noreste de Los Ángeles y el este de Los Ángeles. Y me orgullece ser la autora de la ley AB 937, la ley para anular la desigualdad y buscar la inclusión para nuestros vecinos emigrantes, la ley Visión. Y estoy agradecida de que haya sido seleccionada como una prioridad legislativa del Comité Legislativo Latino para este año. Cuando las cárceles y prisiones de California transfieren a las personas al Servicio de Inmigración y Control de Aduanas después que hayan cumplido sus condenas, después de tener su liberación programada y después de que ellos, sus familias y sus comunidades planean y esperan su reingreso, nuestro Estado los somete a un segundo castigo, solamente por donde nacieron. De acuerdo con nuestros valores, nuestro Estado ha movido hacia programas de rehabilitación. La ley Visión es una extensión de esos esfuerzos. Necesitamos una California para todos, no una California para algunos. Todos los californianos que se han hecho los esfuerzos para rehabilitación merecen una oportunidad de éxito después de que salgan de la cárcel. Espero trabajar con mis colegas para asegurar que California continúe siendo un líder en mantener a las familias unidas y garantizar protecciones para que aquellos que llaman al estado de California, al estado dorado, su hogar, y sin importar a dónde nacieron. Muchas gracias.
So I want to thank every single one of my colleagues for your extraordinary work, your passion, your care for the Latino community. And there are many other pieces of legislation that you are working on. But this is, I think, very representative of what we care about and what we need in the state of California for Latinos and for everyone. So thank you all very much. I would like to open it up. I think, Michael, if there are any questions from the media.
Yeah, we have a question from Kim at the SAC-B. Can we unmute Kim?
Yeah, my questions are for either Assemblymember Arambula or Senator Durazo. How much would it cost the state to expand Medi-Cal coverage to undocumented adults over 26? And do you expect the Medi-Cal expansion to be included in Governor Newsom's May revision?
Maybe Dr. Arambula, would you like to answer?
Sure, I'll take the second part of the question if I could. I'll leave the fiscal estimates for SB 56 to you as the author, if that's all right. I will share that there was a recent article by George Skelton where he talked about how the governor had campaigned on this, how he had promised of reaching us to universal health care. And it begs the question whether he's going to prioritize it within the May revision, and would hope that as we have gone through this pandemic and have seen the disparities that have borne out, that we are willing to and able to make the systems changes necessary to be able to make sure we don't have this in the future.
With regards to the funding, it is my understanding that the funding for the first year, which of course would be lower than the following years, is approximately $160 million. And each year thereafter would be around $250 million. And those are the numbers that we are working with.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both for those answers. If there are any other members of the press who have questions, could you please raise your virtual hand and we'll unmute you. Okay, not seeing any. So this is a reminder that in the link that was sent over by Armando at the beginning of the meeting, there is a list of staff contacts for follow-up interviews and it also includes the list of priorities, and we'll be sending those out in a press release shortly as well.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate all your hard work. Thank you to the members of the media for participating as well. Que pasen buen día. Hasta luego.